Hi dear students, different people teach English grammar in a different approach. I am also like one of them excited to teach you this English grammar in a different approach. In order to understand, in order to diagnose what is this English grammar, we need to raise three important essential questions. When we get answers to these three questions, we will probably understand better regarding this English grammar. Right. So the first question regarding this English grammar is, why should we learn English grammar? Initially, when we ask this question to a student, he or she has a tendency to answer saying grammar is to learn for writing. I remember an instance, one of my students saying the purpose of this learning grammar is for writing. That's what he said. Actually, he is a CBSE student. And I was not shocked. Of course, you may not be shocked because every one of us might think grammar is only for writing. I am here, I told you already, we need to learn this English grammar in a different approach. See, grammar is not a thing or grammar is not a topic that we have to learn to write. No, let me tell you like this. What do we write? We write sentences, isn't it? With a pen, when we pen down, don't we write sentences? And what do you do while speaking? We speak sentences, right? So the main concept of this grammar is the same. Framing sentences. You frame the sentence in a writing form. You frame the sentences in a speaking form. Okay. So the question is, why should we learn English grammar? So grammar is, of course, is to learn for writing, and grammar is also meant for speaking, right? Okay, as a school student, most of us, not most of us, of course every one of us learn this grammar in order to acquire marks. See, when I say the purpose of grammar is for writing, I mean we must be able to write or frame sentences on our own. That's what they say, creative writing. Whereas the school students, like each one of us, learn to acquire just marks. Now, have you ever not raised a question? The grammar topic has been issued by the government of Tamil Nadu, government of every state or every country. The grammar has been issued in the textbooks, and the grammar goes on and on, starting from the 3rd standard up to 12th standard, and even they are used in the in the engineering colleges as well. So when the government has given us the grammar topics right from the 3rd standard, we need to know one thing for sure, that the government is trying something very special from us. By learning this grammar, right? So what I have understood when I interrogated, when I investigated, I was able to understand the purpose of this learning is to speak in English. Now we are in a situation, or the current scenario of this globe, of this world, demands us to communicate in good English. Right? Most of us will definitely try to migrate from our nation to other nation, searching or seeking a better job. And for that, you need to have good or commanding English communication skill. Right? So when we learn this grammar, so-called English grammar, when we learn all these things in full-fledged, and I can guarantee you, we are going to rock in English speaking communication skill. And most of us are led wrongly, saying that when we learn grammar we can't speak. Who said we can't speak? I can guarantee you we can speak good English by learning this grammar, and I am here to help you out. We will have different episodes at different times, and I will be in touch with you all to make you all speak in good English. I am not here just to explain what is grammar. Okay, right. So the purpose of learning this grammar is for writing, and when we learn this grammar for writing, I mean the students, every one of you, try to acquire marks by writing the exact grammar without making any mistakes in your answer sheets. And the second part of the grammar is speaking, and here I have given as a question mark. That means we are not, we never come to this level, we are just here, right? Okay, now when a student can write English grammar without errors, how can not he or she speak good English? He should be able to speak good English, and for that there are different factors which might not allow you to speak good English. And I will give you one factor that is blocking every one of us to speak good English. The factor is fear. Now, what's that fear that hinders us from speaking good English? Right? The fear of impressing others. Right? We actually want to impress others while speaking good English, and that's one of the main questions which will definitely hinder you from speaking good English. Right? Okay. The second fear is we are afraid of being judged by others. Who is he or she to judge us? It's a global language. It's a language that everyone tries to learn, everyone tries to speak, everyone tries to get into touch with that grammar, get into touch with that English communication skill. Why should we have the fear of being judged by others? Who is he or she to judge us? Never ever have the fear of being judged by others. And the last one is, people will laugh at us when we speak English. The people will laugh at us. And I still remember an instance which happened in my life. There was a person who laughed at me when I was not able to communicate to him in English. And that time I decided, I was determined to speak in English in front of him and win over his pride. And I won over his pride. And every one of you can win over that proud moment. Okay, right? So what I was trying to say here is, why should we learn English grammar? People mostly say we learn English grammar for writing purpose, and people don't say actually, we learn English grammar for speaking. But here I am to tell you that we have to learn English grammar for speaking. And when this does not happen in our life, the main reason for not happening this one is the fear of impressing others, the fear of being judged by others, the fear of being laughed at by other people, right? Okay. And the next one is, how should we learn? When we understand this particular question, I can guarantee, or I can assure you that we will definitely come to know this grammar little better. Okay, how should we learn? In your life, most of you have reached the 12th standard, and some of you might be still studying in 10th standard. All of you, please try to understand. You might have never been received this question: how should we learn this English grammar? Right? The English grammar can be learned in 3 ways. Okay. So to learn this English grammar, people have the tendency to understand that we have to learn grammar. No. We don't need to learn the grammar very first. And sometimes people think that when we learn tense, we can speak good English. And it's not also correct. And the third one is the verb. The verb is the very first one that we need to learn. And tense is the second part that we need to learn. Once your tense is learned, and definitely you can learn this grammar. I will explain you one by one. Why should we learn the verb first? Why should we learn the tense second? Why should we learn the grammar third? Okay. Now, the students, those who learn in school life, you might have seen teachers teaching tenses differently, right? And some of the teachers teach the grammar in a different situations or in a different periods without the continuity of this tense. But I would say we first of all need to learn what is verb. And once this verb is learnt, we have to learn this tense. And once this tense is learnt, then we have to jump into the grammar. But without learning these two, you cannot go for the grammar topic. If your steps, the methods of learning this grammar is not this way, you are not going to improve your good communication skill in English. Okay. Now, why am I saying that verb is the very first thing? We need to understand first of all what is verb. No? You might have already learned saying verb is an action word. Yes, it is an action word. I will give you a little more clarity about this verb. Verb is a word which gives meaning to a sentence. See, I told you previously, sentence is the one that we need to speak, or sentence is the one that we are going to write in English grammar, right? So, whether we are writing or speaking, we are going to frame a sentence, right? And that sentence must have meaning. Only then the people who are listening to us or the audience who are paying attention to us will understand the meaning of the sentence, right? Then when a sentence has to be meaningful, I here say that a sentence will become meaningful when your verb is correct. This is how we need to understand. See, by merely learning the definitions, I don't think we are going to learn in a better way. We need to go a little deeper. See, this definition is given in every textbooks, or in every teacher gives this definition. Verb is an action word. I would say verb is not only an action word. No, I can give numerous examples where there are sentences with the verbs which does not have any action. So, verb is nothing but a word which gives meaning to a sentence. When your verb is correct, your sentence will become meaningful. If your sentence is meaningful, definitely the people who are listening to us will understand the meaning of the sentence. And there you are able to speak good English. See, these things can be acquired only by learning this English grammar. I am really at the side of disagreement with the people saying that English grammar cannot be used in the speaking skill. Speaking has to come spontaneously. Okay, speaking will come spontaneously. See, a baby says in Tamil, Amma. When does that baby say Amma? The baby will say the word Amma when the baby keeps on listening to that word Amma from the mother or from the people around that baby. See, that word has to be put into mind. So likewise, this grammar also has to be put into mind, and you have to make use of them in your spoken. You have to make use of them in your daily conversation. But we stop here itself. As students, we learn this grammar, we write them in the answer sheet, we acquire marks, and then we go. We never look into this area. We never understand the purpose of giving this grammar is to speak. See, the government has scheduled, in different standards with the particular topics. They have really. I am really happy that the government has given in each stage different topics of grammar, so that when a student reaches the +2 standard, he or she is able to speak good English. But we never concentrate on this. We only concentrate on this. We try to acquire marks. We go for tuitions. People go for tuition for grammar. People also go for tuition for spoken English. No, they are the same. They are the same. The only problem is we need to understand. We need to understand, or the teachers have to make the students understand. Teachers have to make the students understand. Okay, so the main word, the verb, is something that will give a meaning to a sentence. Okay, I will give you an example. Human body. A man can be called human when he has his heart functioning, right? When your heart does not function, when a heart does not function to a person, we don't call him a person. Okay, right. So we call him as a dead man. Likewise, a sentence can be alive, a sentence can have life when your sentence has an exact verb. See, when your verb is correct, you will give life to the sentence. I mean, your sentence will be meaningful. When a human can be alive, he must have a heart functioning. When a sentence has to be meaningful, your verb has to function exactly. So the next one is tense. Okay. If you are asked what is tense, what might be the answer? Okay. Everyone would say tense means the timing of the action. The timing of the action or timing of the meaning. Or some would say tense means present tense, past tense and future tense. My question is not what kind of tenses are there. My question is what is tense? Okay, I will give you the definition, or I will tell you what is tense in a different manner. Okay, right. What is a sentence? Sorry, what is a tense? Tense is a sentence with correct usage of the verb. See, previously, before this, we learned about verb. I was trying to explain what is verb. I said verb means an action word, which everyone is comfortable with this definition, right? And I gave you another explanation for the verb. I said verb is a word which gives meaning to a sentence, right? Here the tense is correct usage of the verb in the sentence. See, I am not saying that using of the verb in a sentence is a tense. I am saying the correct usage of the verb is a tense. When the verbs that you use in a sentence is correct, your sentence is meaningful. I mean, the others, the audience, or the listeners who listen to you will understand the meaning of the sentence which you convey with. Okay, right. So in the tense, we try to understand, we learn to frame sentences with the correct usage of the verbs. Some would say that tense is learning about the sentence. No, tense is not learning about the sentence. Tense is learning about the sentence with the correct forms of the verbs. And the kinds of tenses, as you all know, that the tense is mainly divided into three: present tense, past tense and future tense. I will tell you about this in the next class. Okay, I will tell you very deeply, and we are going to learn this one for almost around 10 to 11 episodes. We will have to learn about this one, because this is the subject, this is the matter that we need to understand very deeply. If you are going to lack any of these two topics, you are not going to learn the grammar. See, once when you learn this grammar, you can make use of them in the writing form and in the spoken form. So to get this grammar properly understood, we need to first of all learn this verb. We need to identify the verb. We need to come to know the verb, and we need to also learn this tense. See, when I say learning the tense, every one of us in the school life, we are taught what is present tense, what is past tense and what is future tense. See, you might have seen numerous examples. When the teachers are teaching this topic tense, they would take the teacher will take a one single sentence like I eat a mango. This same sentence will be used in all the tenses. See, the purpose of learning fails there. If I am going to teach you with one single example using in all the kinds of tenses, what is the use of the learning of this? What is the use of learning this? And how can you frame sentences on your own? See, when I say grammar is not only for writing, grammar is mainly for speaking. When I say, that means you have to understand everything. You have to understand everything with the proper explanations, with the proper understandings. You can simply say, okay, now I am going to learn about the grammar topic active voice and passive voice. We need to understand what is voice. And we need to get to know very clearly what is active voice and what is passive voice, right? Remember, so once when you understand or once when you learn, when you finish learning this tense, that means you have learned to make sentences meaningfully. Remember, a sentence can become meaningful because of the verb. That's why before learning the sentences, we need to learn the verb first. When you use those verbs in a sentences correctly or appropriately, the sentence will become meaningful, and that we need to learn under the topic tense. Okay. Then the third one is grammar. First, let's understand what's grammar. Grammar is a set of rules and regulations that are used in a sentence to write or to speak fluently. So that's the definition for grammar. Now I will give you further explanation regarding this grammar. See, just think about what do we do while learning this grammar. For example, let's say active voice and passive voice. Isn't this a grammar? See, this is a grammar topic every one of us learn. Every one of us learns in the school. Start from the 8th standard up to college life, we learn this topic active voice and passive voice. Has any one of you raised a question, what is active voice and passive voice? Or has anyone ever raised a question, why should I learn this active voice and passive voice? I told you, remember, the government has given us the grammar topics at with different levels at different stages of our life. That means the government is aiming at us something very special, by learning this grammar. I will tell you when I teach about this topic active voice and passive voice, I will tell you what is active voice and what is passive voice and why should we learn all these things. Okay, now I am not here to teach about that. I am here to tell you what is grammar. What do we learn? What do we do in our school life when we learn about a grammar? See, we change a sentence into another sentence, right? We change a sentence into another sentence. This sentence, just take for example, this sentence is called as active voice and this sentence is called as passive voice, for example. Okay, I have not written any example. Let me tell you, in the exam, in the answer sheet or in the question paper, a sentence will be given. That sentence is, if that sentence is in active voice, we are asked to change that sentence into another sentence which is called a passive voice. See, forget about this topic title, active voice and passive voice. See what's happening, what are we doing actually? We are changing a sentence into another sentence, isn't it? Or okay, let me give you another instance of the grammar topic. Simple, complex, compound. Okay, what do we do in that grammar? In the question paper, a simple sentence is given and we are asked to change that simple sentence into complex or compound. Now, the title simple, complex, compound, you forget about that, right? We change a sentence into another sentence. So, what I am trying to say is, when we learn grammar, we learn to change a sentence into another sentence. This is what we are supposed to understand regarding this grammar. Okay, right. Prior to this, what did I teach you? I talked about tense. What did I say in the tense? I said in the sentence, we learn a sentence with the correct usage of the verb. Why should we learn about the correct usage of the verb? Because the usage of the verb is the one which is going to make a sentence very meaningful. Right? So when your verb is correct, your sentence becomes meaningful, and that using of the correct verb will be learned under the topic tense. So in the tense, when you finish learning the tense, that means you finish learning a sentence. You learn to frame sentences, and once you learn to frame sentences, you start, what is that? You start changing the sentences. You start transforming the sentences. Like active voice is transformed into passive voice, or passive voice is transformed into active voice. Basically, you are transforming a sentence into another sentence. So the sentence should be learned under the topic tense. Once this is over, then you will have to change a sentence into another sentence, which might come under the topic or the title grammar. Okay, right. So finally, let me conclude by saying that the question goes like this: how should we learn? How should we learn this grammar? We should learn this grammar, or the learning of this grammar will become successful only when you first try to understand what is verb, what are the verbs given in the English language, right? And then in the tense format, you try to use those verbs in the sentences. So when you use those verbs in the sentences, they become meaningful. Okay, here you learn to frame sentences. Once you finished framing sentences, you can change all those sentences into different sentences. They are called grammar. Okay, the third question is, the third and the final question is, whom should we learn from this English grammar? Okay, the important question that I would feel, this is the most important question, because see, I told you, I have been telling you very frequently. I have been telling you very frequently that grammar does not change, right? The active voice and passive voice which you learn in the 8th standard is the same that you learn in the 12th standard. The grammar, active voice and passive voice does not change, but the teachers, those who teach us, they keep on changing. So when the teachers keep on changing, the methods or the style or the way of explaining the unchanging grammar is changing. So there lies the problem. Okay, so the tutor whom you choose is the most important thing. The tutor who is going to teach you regarding this grammar, both for writing as well as speaking, you have to be very clear about choosing the tutor. Because if you are going to change the tutor, right? If you are going to change the tutor who will be teaching you the grammar, which does not have any change in any stage of life, will be of worse. Okay, so choose the tutor and take the utmost help from that tutor, learning this, what is verb, learning what is tense, and learning what is grammar, and try to use them in your daily conversation. Okay, so I told you earlier, we learn the grammar for writing. In the school life, we learn grammar, and when we learn grammar, we try to acquire marks. I am asking you, I am requesting you to go a little beyond what we are doing in the school life. Okay, so whatever you learn in the grammar, in the English grammar, try to use them in your spoken English. I understand there is a difficulty, in doing this, because in the school life we are asked, or we are forced to change a sentence into another sentence, right? See, for example, I told you, when we are given a simple sentence, we are asked to change into complex, or when we are given a complex sentence, we are asked to change into a simple sentence. So our concentration is only on changing the tenses, changing the sentences. We transform the sentences. But here I beseech you, I request you to use all those sentences, all those grammar topics in your spoken English or in your daily conversation. If you make use of them, they become a beautiful English. You can definitely speak very good English, very powerful. Your English will become very credible. Okay, so once you start speaking all those grammar, your English communication skill becomes successful and you become a successful person, you can shine anywhere in the world.